Scafidi. Good evening and welcome to 100 Words Mate to Mate. My name is Craig Turton. Tonight I'm really proud to present to you Tuesday night Talking with Turts. I'm really sorry for the delay. The reason for the delay is we cannot get Matt up on screen. So unfortunately you have to deal looking at me. Now, the reason is he's far too good looking for me and I just wanted to be the number one man, if the truth be known. So, look, tonight's all about mate to mate at 8. What we are trying to do is demonstrate to you, we want you to, at either 8 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock at night, get on the phone and ring your mates, okay? Now, the rules of engagement of mate to mate at 8 are this. When you ring them, you ask them how their day has been out of 10, okay? They're the rules. So, without any further ado, because we're already running late, I want to get a man on tonight. The doc couldn't make it tonight because he's having elective surgery on his back and hopefully he'll be ready for us next week. But we've got a good friend of mine. Now, I'm not saying, I've only known this man for 18 months. I'm not saying there's a bromance brewing, but I reckon there could be in the future. He's a great bloke. He's the owner of Jealous Craig Whitehorse. Good mate of mine, goes by the name of two nicknames, either Batman or what I like to call him, the Mayor of Mitcham, Mr. Matt Scafidi. How are you, Matt?
I'm very well, Turch. Yourself?
Are you sensing a bromance?
Oh, mate, that's been bubbling for quite some time now, mate. So no,
good man.
Good.
Now, mate, how has your day been out of 10, my friend?
Oh, listen, this morning it was probably a 4 or a 5, but you know, today, you know, it's got better, and I put some things in place, and it's probably ended up about an 8. So it's been okay. It's been good.
Good man.
And how about yourself, Turch?
Oh, mate, I had a 9 today. I was working down at Safety Beach in the sun, as I have been the last 2 days. So, mate, had a cracking day. I knew that I was speaking to you, and that made it even better. So, mate, let's get into it. Tell everyone how you got involved in 100 Words Mate to Mate and what sort of impact it's had on you.
Yeah, well, my neighbour, Matt Atkin,
great man.
Matt Atkin shouts anything, and he said he had a ticket for me to come along to a function, and I went, well, geez, I better get along. Came along not really knowing what to expect, and obviously met you on the night, and you know, 100 odd other guys, and we were talking about men's suicide and depression, and there was just some really disturbing facts in that night, and some really real emotion that you don't normally see, that I suppose touched something in me, in the sense of I wanted to see how I could help, how we could assist, and you know, the night was fantastic, and the you know, Uber ride home, I think we pulled back into home. Matt and I decided that we were going to do something for Whitehorse. So yeah, so it's a credit to you guys and the founders that have put it together.
Now, mate, did it have an effect on you because of parts of your life that rang true on the night?
Yeah, listen, to be honest, it was probably more the facts and the scary facts and the numbers around it that was being discussed, and how many people in the room were affected. It wasn't probably until later on that I had a good think about things, and realised that it probably did ring true a fair bit more for me than I originally thought. So yeah.
Why is that, mate?
Oh, well, you know, there was there's been some times where, you know, I wouldn't say I've had mental health issues, but I know that I've had some times where I've been unfit, I've been overweight, I've probably relied way too heavily on the likes of alcohol, junk food, all that sort of thing, and I got to a stage where I didn't realise at the time, but I wasn't happy with myself. I wasn't happy, you know, what I was putting out to the world, and was probably really solely focused on work and starting up a business, and wasn't really putting any time into anything else, and knew that something needed to change.
Do you think if you hadn't have changed, that the drink might have got the better of you, and the stress, and you might have spiraled if you hadn't have sort of listened to those around you?
Oh, absolutely. Listen, I think that I'm certainly not here saying that I was drinking at 10 in the morning or anything like that, but it certainly was controlling some of the decisions that I'd make. On a Saturday night, I'd sort of make sure that there was beers in the fridge, and there was beers for when we got home, and that I wasn't driving, and all these sort of things that you don't realise you're doing at the time. It's just sort of subconscious, and at the end of the day, I just sort of decided that some things needed to change, and some good people around me helped me with that.
Who was the main person to bring it to your attention, mate?
Oh, my lovely wife, Tanya. She's never been one to hold back on her thoughts or her opinions. And we're on a family holiday in Noosa, and I was staying up till probably midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, sort of having a drink and everything else, listening to some music, and sort of being by myself whenever my family had gone to bed, and then sort of they'd get up early in the morning and head to the beach and do all those sort of things, and I'd get up and I'd find myself sort of wandering down the beach at sort of 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and
Wow.
She basically said, "Enough's enough. This isn't good enough, and we need you here, and we need you present." And from there, I just I thought to myself, from here on out, I need to do something about this. Got people saying they can't see me, but you need to keep letting them know first as they come on. We've got some technical issues.
Yeah, mate, hats off to you, because it's there've been a lot of guys out there, a lot of guys watching that may not take that criticism that well, particularly from their partner. Some people respond to that, some people respond to their mates, but hats off to you for taking that on board and absolutely doing something about it. I've seen a massive transformation in you in the last 18 months. Physically, you've dropped a truckload of weight, and it's a real shame that people can't see you, but trust me, the man's in some ripping nick. And also, you just drink water like a fish, mate. Every time we're out, and you just drink water, and you really pride yourself on your appearance now and the way you conduct yourself. What sort of impact has that had in the workplace for your staff? Because they would have seen a massive transformation, mate. Yeah. Not only in you, but the way you talk now about men's mental health. You're really, really open with all your staff members. What sort of impact has that had on them, do you think?
Well, listen, I think that obviously the situation we're in at the moment with this virus that is taking over everything at the moment is going to really amplify anyone that's got issues and concerns. And people that have got worries about their job, people have got worries about financial things, people have got worries about with their partners. It's all going to be amplified in times like this. And, I think that, they've certainly seen a physical change in regards. I think I've dropped about 22 kilos overall. And that was over the span of probably about 18 months or so. So it wasn't instant. It wasn't sort of a quick fix. It was
a crash. Yeah.
Yeah, it was doing things the right way and being sustainable. But also, I think that 2018 was in my business life was one that we had some people in our business that weren't the right people, it was a situation where the culture did change and the culture shifted, and a number of people left, and you've got to. A lot of sort of business owners would then sort of blame those people. I felt that we needed to look inwards and see what we should have done to stop that. And it's basically in and around culture, and it's, I don't know whether it's PG, G, or M rated, but we've got a dickhead policy at work now, and it's been the best thing that we ever did. And we hire good people first, and skills we can teach, but they've got to have the right attitude to begin with, and you've got to become a little more empathetic and have some more emotional intelligence as well as you. I believe as you get older, you get that in the sense of when you first start out, you're just trying to get a job and trying to make a living and trying to get a roof over your head and food on the table and all those sort of things. And when those things come later on, after working for a long time, they come a little bit easier. You've got to find other things that sustain you, and you want to give back. And, you know, I think that that's where I'm at with the staff at the moment. And the team, we've got an amazing team now. We've got a bigger business since we merged with the Jealous Craig Blackburn office, full of great people, but all with their own stories. And one thing I think that the association with 100 Words has taught me is everybody's got their own story and everybody's got their own things going on. And if you don't unpeel the onion and ask that extra question, you know, I get paid to pretty much ask questions in my job in real estate. But I've turned that into asking, you know, mate, how are you? Yeah, good. Yeah, what does good mean? What's a good day? What's a good day look like for you? What's a bad day look like for you? And have a bit more of a discussion in and around that rather than just fobbing it off, which I probably would have done 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago.
Do you think that the younger staff, I mean, you know, when you and I were growing up, it was a lot different back then. Like bosses weren't that empathetic at all. They're pretty harsh and, you know, the phrases of suck it up, come on, princess, deal with it. Those days are gone. If you rolled that sort of crap out now, mate, that just wouldn't work. And the generation that you're dealing with, for the 20 to 30, 35, they just roll in a totally different manner. And it's an absolute credit to you and your company to notice that and actually do something about it, to bring those people along. And there's such an open group of people. So to be led by someone like yourself and the other hierarchy there at Jealous Craig is a real credit to you. And I'm sure it's making them feel a lot more wanted and a much better working place for them to come to every day.
We hope so, and that's the goal. I said to one of my business partners a while ago, listen, people spend more time at work than they do at home. So let's make sure that when they're here, they feel valued, they feel as if they're appreciated, and they feel as if we actually care. You know, ultimately, a business is a commercial enterprise, and you're there to make an income. But you know, it's like our community sponsorship. We've got a hashtag there, community over commercial, and
right.
we make those decisions all the time. And we say to ourselves, you know, is this good for the community rather than just commercially viable? And we've got to make some of those harder decisions at times. And you know, I think that our team see that, our community see that, and we don't just want to be the typical, stereotypical real estate agent, you know, going forward.
Absolutely. So two more things. And I'm glad you touched on that. Your stereotypical real estate agent is worried about, from my point of view, 3 things: car, suit, watch, right? I've got to have the best of all those 3. And to me, that would just create a huge amount of unrequired stress. Do you think the industry as a whole has a real issue with that sort of stuff? And do you think that leads to a lot of unrequired stress across the board?
It actually does. It's a case, I suppose, of keeping up with the Joneses and all that sort of thing that does sort of begin. You know, I credit the young guys in our business that you know, we rarely wear ties anymore. Saturday on auction day, sort of that's a traditional game day. We still will wear a suit and tie, but the rest of the time you'll see us in, you know, in sports jackets and open neck shirts and chino pants. You know, still smart, but not that smarmy sort of look that gets around with the gold watch and the car that they're financed to the hilt on and have no chance of ever owning. And I think that, you know, that's where the shift and the change has come from. And this is the great thing about having young guys on your team and young people, is that they bring different ideas. And as you said earlier before, Terts, they are a different. It took me a long while to learn how to manage these young guys. I've got a young guy that works with me turning 20 today, and you know, he operates so much differently than I did when I was 20. And, I've got to take that in. I've got to keep that in mind. And you know, I've got to make sure I'm teaching rather than telling off and doing all those things. Which, and don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect. I've certainly been guilty of that over the years as well.
Mate, now what sort of things have you brought into your business to help you develop these things? I know you're working with an unbelievable man by the name of Dan Burgess, who we both know and rate extremely highly. Tell me what sort of impact Dan's had.
Oh, listen, Dan's a legend.
Isn't he?
He came to us and basically wanted to work with us and offered us to come to our business planning days. 4 of those business planning days he came to gratis, so he didn't charge us for those. He said, "I'll come along and see if I can add some value." From there, we all saw the value immediately. And he's a wellness coach. He's Matt Atkin, dear me. Now, he's a wellness coach, but he's also much more than that. I consider him a friend as well. I can finish training in the morning and give him a call at 6:30, 6:45. I know he'll answer. I know he'll always be up and about. And that's the thing I think that I've learned over the years is that to hang around positive people and hang around people that have got good energy about them. You hang around the people at the water cooler at work that are always whinging and moaning and groaning about life, government, partners, all that sort of stuff, and it brings you down. And Dan's one of those guys that you can just bounce stuff off. He's independent. He's not a real estate agent, and the team have access to him at any time to be able to pick up the phone, email, text, Facebook, whatever it is, just sort of say, listen, I'm having a bad day. And we've had a number of people that have done that and reached out to him confidentially. We say this, we don't want to know what the personal issues are or the person itself, but if there's something, that we need to change within our business or whatever, please let us know.
Yeah. Now, look, he's an amazing individual, and we hope to interview him in the upcoming weeks. And as you know, like you introduced him to us at 100 Words, and he's done a power of work for us, and we couldn't be more grateful of his time that he gives to us. Mate, also, you're doing a bit of mentoring yourself with the staff, helping them get through. Tell me a bit about that.
Oh, listen, I think that, as a leader, it's our job not just to give people tasks and to do lists and everything else. It's about reaching out and actually finding out a little bit about them. During this time, we've had some Zoom drinks and everything else on a Friday, and it's been fantastic to actually get to know some people that you certainly know and you say hi to in the hallway, but actually to have a conversation with them and find out what makes them tick, what makes them happy, what makes them not so happy, and all those sort of things. So, I'm always sort of mindful of how can I assist. I'm certainly nothing like Dan or Josh Fegan, who's another mentor of mine or tormentor. But certainly wherever I can help, I will. And Dion and I will get in the gym and train from time to time. And the old bloke often beats the young guy there, so it makes me feel good. But he feels.
Got your measure yet?
Yeah, well, he hasn't got my measure yet, but he'll catch me, mate. He's got many more years on me, so he's got 30 years.
Very good, mate. Very good. Mate, thank you so much. There was, just to go back a step, do you think with what you've learned, do you think if you hadn't have, I always think of this sliding doors, mate, if you hadn't have come to the event, do you think things would have changed?
Listen, I think I was on the path to change at the time, definitely, and I think that it's rounded me, if that's the right term, in the sense of it's given me a little bit of a purpose, a little bit of like I had a phone call which we talked about earlier today. Won't name names, but somebody that their son was having some issues and wanted some assistance, and my call to you and your advice and everything else has hopefully helped that person, and that's what it's about. Everyone keeps talking about this freaking virus. That virus, I did some numbers today, in Australia up until yesterday had killed 1.45 people per day.
Yep.
In the whole of the entire country. And when you look at that and you say, well, it's 8.5 people that have died of suicide today, or by the end of today, they will have died. You know, it's 8 times the amount. So it does my head in.
Them are men. Over 6 of them are men.
Yeah, correct. Between 15 to 45. And you sit there and you go, you know, we talked about what's a good day and, you know, rating out of 10. And when these guys are having 1s and 2s every single day, and it leads to the ultimate, you know, the ultimate end, it just makes me mad that I think the government, don't quote me on this, but I think the government put in like $300 million into mental health, stimulus package and everything else, and they're pouring billions of dollars into other things, and it's all important, and I get that, but I think that, you know, not our job, but I just feel that if I can help one person like you have, and the guys that have started this have, then, you know, it's been successful. And, you know, when we had 160 guys at the Mitcham Social in September of last year, where you needed the MCG now to be able to do the social distancing, but for that many guys, but, you know, that was and that sold out in record time, and we could have sold probably another 100 tickets.
Oh, you could have sold 300 easy.
Yeah, absolutely. And you just sit there and you go, this is such an issue in so many people's lives. It leaves partners and families devastated at the end of it. And, you know, we need to do everything we possibly can. And I think governments can certainly do more and should do more. And I think that we as individuals need to really think about it in a lot different terms. I mean, we're stopping our children going to school because, yeah, it's terrible. Don't get me wrong. There's 1.5 people dying sort of a day of COVID-19, but there's so many more dying of suicide. So we need to really take that on board.
And the COVID-19 will pass, will eventually pass. We don't know when, but it will. But the mental health issues in this country will only and are only ramping up. And it's blokes like you, mate, and Steve Addison and Dan Norton and the great Matt Atkin who have come to one of our events and just got it. And then, you know, what you guys have done running a huge event in Mitcham and then have affected so many people. On that night, for those who've never been to one of our events, we have a panel and then of experts who have all had their own issues. And then we run an open mic. We had record amount of people. I think we had 11 guys stand up and tell some of their deepest, darkest stories that they hadn't told their partners, but they stood up in front of 160 blokes they didn't know and told their story. It was so powerful. And I know that meant a lot to you and Steve-O and Dan and Matt. And the impact that you've had, mate, and those 3 boys in your community is profound. You should be extremely proud of yourself. And on behalf of myself and the board and the founders of 100 Words, mate, we couldn't be more happy with the amount of passion and enthusiasm that you bring with you. And, mate, thank you so much for everything you do. Thank you for coming on tonight. You are a great man. I'm so sorry that we couldn't actually do this face-to-face, but we will in the future, and we will run many, many more events, mate. Mate, thank you so much for your time tonight. And, mate, when this whole thing finishes, this COVID-19, and we can get out, we will share a water together.
We will indeed, mate. We will indeed.
Continue this little bromance.
Exactly. I was just seeing Matt Atkin's got the question there. Do you talk outside? I think he's leading the witness.
Where do I go?
Yes, Matt Atkin, I do talk to you from time to time. So
where do I get to the questions?
In the chat. You said, tell us how you deal with not knowing all the answers. Do you talk to others outside your business? So I think he's leading the witness there and saying that, yes, I talk to Matt on a regular occasion from time to time. So
now, I believe you've got the questions at your end.
Do I? Oh, there you go. There you go. That's all good. But that's the only question so far. So we've
no worries. Well, mate, thank you so much. Apologies to everyone for having to look at my scone for the last 35 minutes. May find it hard to sleep after that, people. Matt, thanks again, mate. I really appreciate it. You're an absolute star, and all the best to you and all your staff there. And you're making a huge impact in the community and in your business. And all those young blokes like Pup and all the boys in your organisation are really, really lucky to be led by a bloke like yourself. So thanks for your time, mate.
Thanks, mate. Absolute pleasure. Anytime. Have a good night.
Good man. Matt Scafidi, everybody. What a great man he is. He's made a real impact through the 100 Words Mate to Mate Whitehorse area. Next week, we hope to have the doc. He had elective surgery on his back today. We hope the doc is better for next week. Look, thank you to everyone. Huge thanks to my producer, Matt, who does a great job every week. We will sort out those technical difficulties during the week. Massive thanks to Splice Communications, Shelley Wood, who's an absolute jet. Big thanks to Atlas Equipment Finance and 61 Finance. Guys, thanks for jumping in behind us. The First Serve on SEN. Thanks for Brett Phillips for jumping in behind us as well. Guys, thanks for joining us tonight. Next week, Talking with Turts, 8 o'clock. Hashtag Mate to Mate at 8. This week, I want you to ring a mate at 8 in the morning or 8 at night. Ask him how his day is out of 10. He will give you a number and ask him. Okay? Thank you so much for joining me. Talking with Turts. I will see you next Tuesday night. I hope your week is a 10 out of 10. See you later.